8 for 122 on day one to winning this Test match by 251 runs. How do you sum up the victory?
It's a great one, no doubt about that. We didn't bat as well as we would have liked early on day one. Having said that, Steve Smith was still in at 8 for 120, and we know how good he is. And two, we knew that day 5 was going to be harder to bat than day 1, so if we could drag it deep enough, we thought we were still in the game. Having said that, we probably felt behind the game for probably 3 days, so I thought the way we stuck at it and kept grinding was a real credit to our boys. And then the last 2 days we played superb cricket.
Just on Nathan Lyon, 350 Test wickets now for him. It's only 31. How much longer can you see him playing, and how many wickets could he get to?
Oh, he could get plenty, as long as he wants to go for, I reckon. He doesn't seem to have too many niggles or injuries over his career, and the ball's coming out as well as ever. He's a bit the same as Smithy. I feel like every Test match or every series they seem to get better, which is astonishing at their age. But I think if you come and watch both of them train, you see why they keep improving and keep getting better, and they're a great example for the rest of our group.
And is there a turning point in the match that you can put your finger on where it started to swing your way?
Not really. I mean, I think Steve Smith was unbelievable. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's the best player in the world for Test cricket at the moment. He's probably the best ever, statistically. And while he's at the crease, I think our team's got real confidence. And I thought, Peter Siddle digging in with him was crucial. And then I thought for the majority of the game, I thought we bowled pretty well. And then today I thought we were superb with the ball. But having someone like Steve in controlling the game certainly helps.
Tim, how big a statement do you think this is in the context of the series? It's been some time since Australia's won a first Ashes Test over here, and also, how do you keep a lid on it, or do you try to give it? It's such a momentous sort of victory.
You've got to keep a lid on it. There's still 4 tests to go, and we aren't here to win the first Test at Edgbaston. We're here to win the Ashes, and we've been really clear on that for some time. So we're obviously happy to win the first Test. It's a huge step in the right direction, but we're certainly not satisfied with that. And I think tonight will be quite a different feel to most Test wins that we've had. We are over here to do something that a lot of teams from Australia have struggled to do, and we realise if we can do it, that it'll be spoken about for a hell of a long time, and that's what's driving us. To come in England in these conditions is difficult for us, as it is for England to go to Australia, and there's a big 5 weeks ahead of us.
Tim, just from a personal point of view, how did you find it captaining with Steve and Dave back in the team now? Did you feel a bit less pressure than you did over the summer and when you took it previously? Yeah,
it certainly helps. As I said before the game, both of those guys in particular have played a lot more cricket in England than I have, and played in a lot more big tournaments, big series and big tests than I have. So, and the same goes for all of our teams. So, they're not only helping me with the way they lead our group, but they're also helping, the things that Marnus Labuschagne and Mitch Marsh and Travis Head are learning from Steve Smith and David Warner in our change room is stuff that cannot be taught. We're all tapping into them, whether we're the captain or we're the coach or we're the batting coach or bowling coach. They've got things that they've learnt through experience that other people don't have and don't know. And like I said before, we'd be foolish not to tap into that. So they've still got a huge presence in our dressing room. There's no denying that.
So with Steve Smith getting so many runs against England and Nathan Lyon getting wickets, do you think you've reopened some old wounds from 2017-18 when you won 4-0?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask them. But as I said, whilst those guys, while Steve's scoring runs and Nathan's taking wickets, we're a pretty dangerous cricket team. And as I think you saw, the rest of us will grow with confidence the better those guys are going. You add to that Pat Cummins and Matthew Wade's performances this game, and like I said, we're really proud and really happy about the way we went about this whole Test match.
Got Hugh, Baba, Ross, Ian, Rob, and the gentleman there.
Tim, there was so much talk ahead of this match about whether or not this ground is intimidating and where it ranked in the world. Is there a certain amount of satisfaction from this victory and the extent of it here at Edgbaston?
No, not really. I mean, you try to deflect as much as you can heading into a game of this, I suppose, magnitude, and we were fully aware of how the crowd is here at Edgbaston, and I think it was a little bit of a bluff, but we know that when we come to England, the crowds are going to be difficult. They're going to be at us. They're at us the moment we get off the bus out the front. But yeah, we've, as I said, we've spoken about that. We've got a plan for that. And I thought the way our whole team handled this whole week was excellent, and I thought it was fantastic to come here today, and the loudest supporters were the Australians, which was awesome.
Tim, hi. You've kept a lot to Nathan Lyon in the last 18 months or so. So there was a lot of talk about this being a slow pitch, and generally Nathan Lyon really comes into his own on a pitch with a little bounce. Did you see him do anything differently today, or was it just the pitch got a little spicy, like just in terms of speeds he was bowling at or anything like that?
Yeah, no doubt the pitch had worn, but I thought he was still threatening in the first innings as well. And again, Nathan's played on all different surfaces now. He knows exactly what he's doing in all different situations. But I thought today, I don't know, but I think he bowled a little bit quicker, which he tends to do over here because the pitch is a little. He doesn't get the bounce that he gets in Australia, or as sharp a turn as consistently. But I thought today he nailed the speed he needed to bowl. He controlled it beautifully, and as we saw, he's going to be a real threat in most conditions, which again is a great thing for us as a team because he doesn't rely on day 5 wickets. He can take wickets for you at any stage of a game, and when you've got a spinner like that, it can change a game really quickly.
Hi, Tim. Obviously, five tests in 47 days or whatever it is, and you chose to leave out Stark and Hazelwood, 2 guys with excellent track records. Yep. Do you feel that you've got a bit more room for manoeuvre now with your seam department and your seam bowling stocks now that you've rested those 2 guys? Yeah,
same. We spoke about it, before the test. But, one of the reasons we picked so many bowlers was because we knew this Ashes series was going to be wearing on our bowlers, particularly guys who have come out of a World Cup. But yeah, we now have a decent break between tests, and we've got 2 absolute world-class bowlers sitting on the sidelines rearing to go. So I imagine they'll have a bowl this week in a tour game and be putting their hand up for selection. And once we get to Lords and see the wicket again, we'll pick what we think is the best combination to take the 20 wickets. But the workloads and stuff is something we certainly brought into the thinking when we were trying to pick this squad. And as I said before the test, we think we've got a lot of different options for all different conditions and a lot of bases covered.
Tim, just following on from that a little bit, there was 6 changes in this team from the team you captained against Sri Lanka. As part of the selection panel, somewhat having given your opinion, do you feel vindicated that you took a punt on a couple of guys and it came off, Matty Wade in particular, Peter Siddle as well? Do you feel vindicated in that sense? Oh, not really. I think those guys played because they deserve to play. Matty Wade's been the form batter in Australian cricket for the last 12 months at least, and again, Peter Siddle was someone that we see in these conditions is a real handful. And I think even today on the day 5 wicket, he took no wickets, but the pressure he built, he asked questions all the time. And with the Duke's ball in English conditions, he's a real handful. He bowls a beautiful length over here. And so I wouldn't say they were punts. I think they were just good, educated decisions from our selectors.
Tim, just ask you about Pat Cummins. You know, he sort of set the tone today, but he seemed to get better as the match progressed. Is that a good sign for the
agree.
series?
Yeah, he did. And, again, I think he just struggled, he said, in the first innings for a little bit of rhythm, which can happen. He hasn't played a hell of a lot with the red ball in the last 6 months. So I think there was a little bit of rhythm. There's also a big series and something that he wanted to have a real impact on. So I think there was probably a little bit of nerves as well, which is totally fine. I don't think he was on his own there, but I think he settled into the test match beautifully, and the way he set the tone for our team this morning was exactly what we want from Pat Cummins. And now I think he's settled into some rhythm. I think he will just get better and better.
Got Rob, Ali, Lawrence, and then one more, please.
Just on Steve, sort of obviously it's been quite an emotional week. How was he after the win and looking forward? Is he the sort of guy that you almost have to tell to kind of, stop hitting so many balls in the nets, or maybe sit out the tour game?
No, I wouldn't argue with his preparation. It seems to work for him, but obviously I think there's probably a few guys that that will miss next week. Obviously, we need some guys who haven't played any cricket, and some guys have come through a World Cup, then straight into a tour game in Southampton, and then into a Test match. So we've got to manage not just our fast bowlers, we've got to manage the guys that have been involved in the World Cup, and we'll have that conversation today or tonight and make the sensible calls.
So what did Jimmy Anderson's injury do for the sort of confidence of the Australian players throughout the Test match? And also, I mean, obviously you never want to see someone be injured, but how much of an impact do you think that has going ahead in the series, because you'd expect him to be out for a spell now? Yeah,
it's hard to tell. I mean, no doubt when Jimmy Anderson's one of the, if not the best bowler in the world, particularly over here in England. So it made it difficult for their team. It put a lot of workload into Ben Stokes as well, their all-rounder, and guys had to bowl more overs, and they've probably been used to having to bowl with Jimmy in the side. But I think certainly you'd be lying if you said psychologically it didn't make a difference to our team, and obviously physically to theirs as well it did. So again, it's a big win for us, but they lost their premier bowler, so we've got to be realistic about it. And that's why it's one Test win, and there's 4 more huge games for us to go.
Tim, do you sense that one or two of their guys are slightly out of nick? Look at Moeen Ali, Johnny Bairstow, for example, and is that something you can exploit as the series progresses?
I think we bowled really well to them. I'm not sure if they're out of nick. It's only we've played them in one Test match, and John in particular was, from memory, pretty good in the World Cup. So we know how good a player he is and how damaging he can be. He scored a number of Test hundreds. So to have someone like that at 7 and Moen at the same, Nathan's bowling beautifully to him at the moment and seems to have a bit of a hold on him. But we've seen Moeen Ali play some very good innings and be really dangerous in Test cricket. So we won't be taking those two lightly, that's for sure.
One more now, please. At the front here.
You'll be right without the mic from there, I reckon, Dan.
The last over James Pattinson bowled today, I think Chris Wokes in for 3 boundaries. It was sort of not really the sort of over that we've seen much at all of across the Test match. Did you feel with the balance of attack you had that you were able to, I suppose, control the scoreboard and play on patience a bit?
Yeah, and that's certainly one of the key areas we want to improve on in England is, and again, whilst we didn't bowl at our best in the first innings, I thought the way we controlled the scoreboard allowed us to be in the position we were in yesterday. Had we have gone at 3.5, 4 and over, then all of a sudden they're 140, 150 in front on that first innings. So I thought we controlled the scoreboard beautifully. Our bowlers did a great job. And then James today, we were just in a position where we could throw him the ball and say, run in and bowl as fast as you can, and see if you can hit a few guys in the body. See if we can get some gloves, and we managed to do it. But that's going to happen with Pato. We're going to use him at different times and in different ways, because that's the sort of bowler he is.